I've been working on this project for roughly 3 months. I'm gonna turn on screen key so you can see what I'm typing. So my meta key here, it's Windows key, which is super. Now I just launched terminal. So usually the way I'm gonna switch to different workspace. So usually the way that tiling Windows managers work is you keep spawning windows, and then pretty much you can start changing. For example, if I were to launch Alacrity, I have this tile, and then what I can do is if I press Windows Shift and J, you'll see that here it says super plus J, but this is capital J. So in my keyboard, what I did, I typed super, which is the Windows key, Shift and capital J. Now if I were to press super Shift plus K, it'll switch the windows to the right, and I can keep doing this non-stop, right? Now tiling Windows managers have been criticized because essentially they're too difficult and they're too much configuration, and all of that is completely true. It's not super simple to have a tiling window manager. There's awesome window manager, there's i3, there's a lot of different things that you can do. You can install Polybar, you can install like a million things. It's almost to the point where it can become a little overwhelming. However, when you have done the work, you can start playing a lot with how many tiles you have. You can start playing with borders, you can increase borders. So when you start compiling things by yourself, you can start to create wonderful things that are completely customized, and people will be extremely surprised with what kind of Windows manager is that, right? So here I'm gonna show how I have two different workspace. Now I already started playing with Center Master. The good thing about DWM is that you have a lot of different layouts. So if I right click here, I can show you that I have tile, monocle, floating. I have Center Master, which is Center Master is one of my all-time favorites. I have Center Floating Master, which I barely use. I have B-Stack, which I use a lot when I'm maybe in the middle of a meeting. I have a B-Stack horizontal deck, Fibonacci dwindle, Fibonacci spiral grid, horizontal grid, gapless grid, no row grid. Now in another video, I'm gonna go through all of these. What are these layouts? What can I do with them? I'm also going to explain when can you use it. So today we're going to specifically talk about Center Master and the cool things that you can do with DWM. Now DWM is not the easiest tiling window manager, but I'm going to put a lot of focus on these specific tiling window managers. So for example, I want to launch my own version of Doom Emacs, right? Or let's just start with Emacs. So I press Super Control E, right? And then I have Emacs, right? So, but this is no longer functional for me because I just have too many windows. So if you would be a window user, you just start closing windows, like, right, with the mouse, and that's how your brain has been adapting to Windows. Now, if you are in a window manager, there's a lot of things that you can do. The reason why I like Center Master so much is because first, I already have it configured to launch with Super Shift and R. So that's my Center Master. I can also right click here and select, Center Master, which would be the same. Now one of the main things that I like to do is I really like to read my emo on terminal. So for that I use a software called NeoMud. Now with NeoMud, I'm gonna show you essentially the my emo that I have when I'm doing like trading. So I have it here on my right screen. Now it should be here on my left screen. As you can see, I'm also hiding my mouse, so when I'm using my mouse you can see the pointer. However, when the mouse is no longer used, it should disappear. So I'm gonna, as you see, the mouse disappears, so it really allows me to kind of organize this whole mess, right? So first and foremost, I like to have two screens on the center. So what I do is I press Super I, and that will allow me to read my email on the bottom, right? And then I also have this border that tells me in which window I'm working on, right? So let's say, for example, I follow Action Alerts Plus from CNBC. So what I'm going to do is press Control F, right? And then I can put action alerts plus, and this will help me search through my email. Now, these are all the alerts that we have, and this is based on Vim. So if I press the letter J, it will go down. If I press the letter K, it will go up, right? So for example, the Jim Cramer, I'm trying to see, should I buy more Apple stock or not, right? So then we can go through the email. We can see what he wants to say about that, right? So I can disable screen key for now. So for that I press the tool key on my keyboard, and now I can just read the email and delete the screencast. Now here essentially what he thinks is that because the market started going down, it might be a good time to buy Apple. Okay, I'm gonna turn the screen key again. So I press Q and I can go back to my index. Now let's say that I already have Apple, so I already have a lot of Apple, so I'm gonna press Shift D, and you will see here like a D, that means it's gonna be marked for deletion, right? So when I press I6, which is like my, hold on, okay, sorry about that. When I press, let's say I6, this will take me to the main folder, and then I can jump to different messages. I can press Control H, and it will help me go down through my, if I press Control J, right? So I can go, for example, I have a specific stocks only folder, right? I press Control O, it can open that one, right? I have hundreds of thousands of emails, so one of the goals of this year is to start deleting every single email that I no longer need, right? So if I press Control J, I can start going down, Control K, I can start going up. So I have a special folder for Control Alerts Plus, and this is how I can start cleaning my email. As you can see, the email was already deleted, right? But today we're not focusing on Neomod. I'm gonna do a different version, a different video about that. Today we're going to focus on the fact that why is dynamic window manager better than a normal tiny window manager, right? So normal window manager pretty much works like this. The tiny windows manager is not as flexible as you would like it to be. So there's not a lot of things you can do with it. Now, if you think about it, just how much you use your computer, I'm on my computer at least 3, 4, 5 hours per day. I love sitting on my computer, but I can't spend the whole day on the computer because that's not what I want to do with my life. I like going out, I like walking. My computer for me has to be something efficient that I can do a lot of work. With a tiny window manager, there's not a lot of work I can do if I cannot resize windows, right? So what people do is they end up switching back to Windows or back to Mac or whatever. So my goal with compiling the best tiny window manager I can do was use the knowledge that I have for C++, for C. It's been a fun year, I've learned a lot, and really tried to deliver to the community the best window manager I can do. So I think I've done a okay job for being my first ever software that I'm going to release on GitHub. What makes this software different is that pretty much I have added pretty much every single patch that I think it's worth adding on DWM. Now DWM is notoriously complicated. I even had to ask for support from some of the developers because there was a software that was not working properly. Now I'm gonna do like a small demo or another video about how I can download YouTube videos, and then we're gonna start mixing things up, right? But for now, let's say that I already read my email, right? I don't really care about Neomod anymore, so I'm gonna send this tile to the last position here where we have a serve browser, right? So I would press Super Shift Z, right? And it will go to that last position because now I need to focus on something else, right? Now I'm gonna go to the main screen here on top, right? And then let's say that I'm already browsing the web, but for some reason I'm ready to go and watch some Netflix, right? So all I have to do is press Control J, Super J, right? Until I can be on the Vivaldi. Okay, so I'm gonna okay, so now I'm in Vivaldi, so I can start pressing Super Shift K, but that'll take me too long, right? Like it takes too long to send it to the center, right? So what I can do is I can press Super and then space, and that'll take my Netflix to the center, right? So right now I don't want to get into politics and all that mess, so let's say I want to go to my Netflix, see what's here, and we have a great special about World War II, right? So now after I'm watching, by the way, I just finished watching Barbarians. It's a great show. So the way I like working is I really like browsing Netflix, and then after I browse Netflix and start watching a movie, what I like to do is I like to have the email below that movie, right? So for example, here I'm learning Emacs as much as I can. I think Emacs is fantastic software, but it can be a little difficult, right? So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close Emacs with Super Shift C, right? So that's done, and then I created another special script that allows me to launch Spacemacs. So that would be Super SS. So you have to type it twice, right? And this is Spacemacs. Now there's a lot of videos out there how to use Spacemacs. I'm not interested for now. I really want to have a super nicely configured Spacemacs, super nicely configured Emacs, and a super nicely configured Doom Emacs, and then kind of I want to be good at the three of them. Now my personality is I don't care too much about time. I care about fully understanding what I'm doing. So since I'm not an expert on Space Emacs, I'm gonna close that one, right? So you press Super Shift C, and now I'm gonna launch Doom Emacs, right? So for that one, I press Super Control and D, right? And then that will allow me in the same computer to have Doom Emacs. So this is, now we're gonna start to see how I work. So I'm gonna, for example, I'm going to, this is too small for me, right? So I can press Alt, Super, and the right, and then the border starts to go a little lower, shortened, but these are the horizontal borders. So this is a patch called Vanity Gaps. Now if I press Alt, Super, up, then the borders, the vertical borders go increase. If I press Alt, Super, down, the vertical borders decrease. So when I'm ready to start working, what I like doing is close all the borders. Now I can also put Super Alt 0, and then the borders would, reset. But for now, what I like doing is I like to have some borders, right? That I can kind of separate what I'm doing now. This is where we're gonna get into, for example, if I already watched Netflix, I can make that window smaller, right? So what I would do is I would press Super Shift and then up, right? And then that really allows me to start focusing on Emacs, which is what I want to do right now. Now, these are the different things that you can do. Now, let's say that, for example, I don't care about the Bill Gates here, right? So I can make this window small, right? Even smaller than Netflix, right? Then the window on the bottom will be higher. And then when I keep moving through the different windows, for example, let's pretend that I need to use a lot of terminal, right? So I can go up twice, right? I can close this guy. Now I have a terminal here. Okay, and then with this terminal, I really wanna start using it here, right? Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to like move it to the right, and then what I want to do is I really wanna let's pretend I wanna have like HTOP here, right? For whatever reason, I want to see my computer, see what's going on in my computer as I'm using Doom Emacs. Okay, So let's go back to the center screen, and now we can finally start using Doom Emacs, which is kind of what I wanted to do. Now this specific version of Doom Emacs, there's a lot of things that I have here. I can read my emails through Emacs. I can also go to Twitter, right? There's a lot of different things. I have org mode, like the list goes on and on. I'm gonna do a specific series of videos about Doom Emacs. So for now, what I can do is I can go to Twitter, then I can I need to go with this auth token. So there's a lot of different things that I'm going to do for this. Now I don't necessarily want to start doing this right now, so what I can do is I can close Doom Emacs, and I can let's say I want to start space Emacs, right? So again, there's a lot of cool things that you can do when you started messing with things. When you start really understanding how things are built, how to compile, it becomes completely different from the customized window manager that you have, right? So there's a lot of work that I've put into this. I'm really happy learning. I'm really happy to teach, and I'm excited. I think it'll be a great series of videos. I'm starting the channel today. 2020 was a year that I spent a lot of time at home. At first I was really bored, then I started really excited, then back to bored again. So it's been really difficult to just stay so much time on the computer, right, on your house, waiting for the things to go back to normal. So there's been a lot of time that I had to like learn. So what we're gonna try to do in this channel is just really explore all the different things that we can do, really kind of start learning how dynamic tiling Windows managers work. We're gonna go back to Center Master for now, and kind of start explaining how everything was done, how everything was programmed. I'm uploading everything to GitHub, so I think it will be fun. Hopefully you like the video, you can subscribe, and then we can start exploring how to do all these cool things, which is not only cool, it will also help you get a job. Trust me, we're gonna get into that. It will also help you get employed. It will also help you with your code reviews. There's a lot of reasons why learning computers, it's gonna really truly help you have a good financial life. So we're gonna get into that. That's a whole different series of videos, like how to remain relevant in your profession, how to use Node.js and React and Python, org mode. There's a lot of things that we have to talk about, so I'm excited. I do apologize, this video was a little longer than I expected, but there's just so many things that I wanted to show you guys. Anyway, thank you so much, and hopefully you guys have a great day.